Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another amazing show. This is Real Estate Marketing Roundtable Uncensored. We got some amazing people here today. We have my incredible co-host, Mr. Jake Wolf, Mr. Nick Sakis, and Mr. Gene Volpe, which we always like to mess with him because he's the baldest of the bald out here all the time. And we're going to come in here. We're going to go in hot. We're going to come in with incredible content. We're going to be talking about all things marketing. But until then, here is your round.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now?
What was that?
I'm sorry. Gene decided to leave for the day. He had to go on vacation.
What was that? Like, where? How do you?
I pressed the wrong button, motherfucker. God.
You did that accidentally. That's
Pressed the wrong button.
Listen, if you're
It's
listening to this show only on audio, you got to come back and watch the videos to see some of this stuff. You don't know what we're talking about. You played the wrong intro.
Actually, that's an outro. This is my old outro for my beers and coffee. But I would do that and do an inspirational speech, and I wrong button push. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let's get down to the brass tacks. Mr. Jake Wolf, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Greg. Thank you very much.
Dude, we're glad to have you here. Mr. Gene Volpe, what is going on? You are on the what call a vacation. I've heard of these things, haven't seen one in a long time, but tell me more about what you're doing.
Yeah, we're down on the East Coast. We call it down the shore. So I'm down by the beach. We're probably 24 deep. There's a whole bunch of nieces and nephews running around. Right now they're on a boat. So I have some time before they get back and cause all kinds of havoc.
Well, good. At least you have a little time to hang out with us. We're blessed to have you here. Mr. Nick Sakis, what's going on, the ever-shrinking man?
Actually, yeah, the shrinking man is in a calorie deficit today, so I'm freezing my ass off. I don't know what that is, official medical term for it or whatever, but anytime I'm in a pretty good calorie deficit for the day, it makes me chilly, so I'm wearing my hoodie today.
So let's just clarify. You live in Florida.
I live in Florida.
And what is the outside temperature of the house?
Well, it is raining, so I think it's about 88 as opposed to 98. My house is a cool 70 degrees right now, but I'm a little chilly.
Dude, you got to come to California, homie. I'll show you some chilly weather.
It only happens on calorie deficit days. I don't know. It's weird. It's very strange. Anybody who's done any dieting or what is it called? Biohacking, if you will. It happens. I don't know. You get chilly when you're in a calorie deficit. So that's me right now.
You need to drink one of those 0-calorie Trulies to go ahead and warm you up, brother.
Yeah. Or I'll drop down to 10 push-ups like the Sarge says.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about databases, guys. I know that's a really boring conversation coming off of like calorie deficiencies and push-ups and everything else. But we really want to get into this, and we want to get tactical in regards to kind of using the forward script that stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Getting into your database, getting your content, getting in front of your contacts. Working with Jake and Clever, then bring it over to Nick and putting it out onto social media on Facebook, and then letting Gene chop it up and push it out to a ton of other sites. Gentlemen, I want to kind of just bring it out to the whole forum here. When it comes to working your database and talking about the family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, those things that are very relevant for all of the other people that are in your database, where do you start with this and how do you have that conversation? Jake, you came up with this concept, so I'm going to bring it over to you, and then I'll bring it over to the other two beautiful, wonderful gentlemen that are here on the screen with us.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen on the other side right now, and I wanted to go ahead and talk about the gold in our database here real quick to go ahead and get into kind of like the why, right? So we've done some pretty aggressive research here as of late, and I just went ahead and prepared a quick little visual presentation for everybody. I'm going to run through it here. So guys, right now, if you're looking for listings, if you're looking for, oh my gosh, which direction I turn, You've worked for the last months and years of your non-infinite life to go ahead and obtain a group of people who know, like, and trust you. So let's talk about the gold inside of your database. We're talking about the contacts in your phone, the contacts inside of your database system, wherever that is, the contacts that you have on social. But let's get into some statistics here. All right, so let me go ahead and grab my screen.
Nick, I'm sorry, Jake, as you're walking through this, make sure that you can read everything out for all of our listeners, not just our viewers.
I'll do it. It's quick, dirty, and easy, but I wanted to show everybody something. All right. So statistics right now, guys, are pointing towards literally 8% or around there of the people that you know are thinking about making a move. So think about that. 8% of the folks that you have inside of your know, like, and trust type categories. Okay. 8%. So what are the stats on this? So let's say you have 1,000 people in your phone, 1,000 people somewhere in the world that you've connected with, past clients, whatever. 1,000 contacts times 8%. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 80% of your contacts are possibly in market. All right. So the margins might be up a little, down a little, depending on your specific database, but this is a serious number. So being in the real estate industry and actually going out, making contact to the people that you know is vitally important. So time to connect with your contacts that know, like, and trust you. One of the things that I wanted to throw up is the big why. Why are possibly 8% of your contacts in market right now? Why are they? The pandemic has literally changed the way that they look at their home. So think about it. Over the last year or so, that we all were told to go home. Now the kids are home from school. Now everybody's house becomes their work environment, and maybe they're reassessing things. Okay, that's a huge one right now. All right, so, or guys, we all know what's going on in the housing market. People can capitalize on the newly found equity position in their home because of the market increase. Okay, so additionally, ladies and gentlemen, over the summer, we've all heard housing market's hot, housing market's hot. Guess what? Right now, CNBC, Fast Money, August 27th, signs of a slowdown. The CEO of Redfin is on there talking about different things. There are some serious statistics going on in the marketplace right now. Home buyers sign fewer contracts in July as high prices chill the summer market. So, but right here, pending home sales dropped 1.8% from June to July. The market may be starting to cool slightly. Mortgage rates fell sharply during the July, with the average of the popular 30-year fix starting the month at 3.18 and ending at 2.84, according to Mortgage News Daily. So what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is there are signs in the market that things are starting to slow down. So what happens if there is a correction? Now, all of a sudden, the equity position that everybody thinks that they're high on the hog with could be dramatically pulled back, right? So get talking to your contacts and things like that. It's very, very powerful. You can go ahead and pick up the phone and call them. I wanted to throw this in here. This is a sneaky little trick that we're using over here. We call it our contact conversation starter. We assign a phone number to our agents, and we download all of your existing database set into our CRM systems, and we use technology and we get the conversation started. So if you guys can't see this, I blew it up. Nice text message that you can automatically send out to 10 of your contacts at a time, 20, 100. Hey, using merged fields. Hey, John, it's Sam Larson. I wanted you to have my new alternate business number. How are you? Just start the conversation, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
The how are you kind of a scenario. So that's the end of my visual presentation right now. But I'm telling you guys, the pandemic has changed the way that we're all thinking about our homes. We're looking at equity positions in our houses, and starting that conversation is extremely important. Saying, how are you? How have you been? I haven't talked to you in a while. And, maybe even posing that question about the pandemic and if they were possibly planning on making a move, and then tell them about things that are going on in the industry. Hey, right now we're starting to see things start to cool down. We've had high buyer demand here lately. It's just been nuts. Now might be the time. Say hello, see how your people are doing. Very important, ladies and gentlemen.
So just a question for you on that one, Jake. I mean, a lot of people, guys, I don't give a flying fuck balls of who you believe in, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, fairy godmother, tooth fairy, don't give a shit, right? Here's my thing is with this is like, what if you find your tribe? And so with utilizing what Jake is talking about, and you start having these conversations, be like, hey, what are your thoughts on blank, right? Because we work together in our thoughts, and then start getting an idea of kind of where the mindset is. My father actually had an idea a long time ago, and I use it, and it's still a great idea. Exactly what Jake is talking about. Gene and Nick, I want you to jump in. And when it comes to when you're doing the calls, don't do a call like, hey, it's Nick Sakis with ABC Real Estate. I'm just calling to say hi. How are you? I suck. It could be more like, dude, Nick, it's Greg. I suck, bro. I haven't been a good friend to you. I've been a good, relationship manager with you. How's life? How's COVID? How's the family? What are your thoughts on this? Your kids are back at school. What are your thoughts on this? Kind of get in that realm with them, and be able to put them in different categories so you can speak to these people the way they want to be spoken to. So again, no bias in regards to religious or politics, but if you're Biden, Trump, independent, if you're whatever supporter, you can put them into different categories and speak to them the way they want to be spoken to, but you have the ability to use the Ford script. And Nick, I want you to describe the Ford script so everybody understands exactly what that means.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea behind Greg is the script master, right? General ninja in charge. I've never been a huge proponent of actual scripting. When I think of a script, I think of a framework, and that's what Ford is, right? It's the framework of a conversation. It's nothing that you should just be reading. It's back and forth. So I'm definitely more of a proponent of having a guideline framework. And so essentially, the Ford method is a very easy way for you to have a framework of a conversation, even if somebody you haven't talked to in a long time. And F stands for family, right? So how's your family doing? What are you up to? I looked on your Facebook page and saw you just had a kid, or they just had a birthday. Like, that sparks conversation, right? Then you go into occupation. How's work? How's your job? Are you doing anything different? Everybody's got a little side hustle nowadays. Are you doing anything? You used to build those, wooden Florida flags. Are you still doing that kind of stuff? American flags, like that sparks conversation. Then you have recreation. So like, what are you doing in your spare time? Family, are you guys going on vacation? Maybe you just went to Disney. So you have these different pods, right? And then what are your dreams? So is there anything that I can help you with from a real estate perspective, friend perspective, anything like that? The dream portion is typically where I would bring into, hey, this is what we're seeing in the real estate market, because dreams can also be moving up, taking equity from your house. How would you utilize that cash? And that's kind of why it plays out like that. So what's your recreation? What's your dreams? Those are kind of two things that you as the real estate advisor can kind of morph into that real estate market, thinking about moving, dreaming about a new home, and kind of extracting that way. But it's a real simple 4-step. You can get through that conversation in 20 minutes and keep it moving, keep it flowing. It focuses all the attention on them. It's not about you calling them to say you just hit top 10 in your office or whatever BS. It's a really, really good framework to have natural conversation.
Yeah, it really is. Because Nick, the one thing that you brought up right there that you didn't say, but I heard, is that you're no longer talking about yourself. You're talking about them, right? And everybody's favorite conversation topic is themselves. So if you can bring them into the conversation, get them engaged, then they feel that you care, which you actually do. If you're a human being, we're going to exclude Gene from that comment. But I mean, the rest of us all care about our clientele. Gene's giving me the look of like, I'm going to murder you from Pennsylvania. I'm going to just kill you. But I mean, Gene, I do want to get you in on this real quick. I mean, so you take what Nick just said. How do you leverage that kind of content? Because you can create a lot of content, and where would you start?
I'm not answering that question after you just berated me and said I'm from Pennsylvania.
Stop being a bitch.
Put everybody back on the screen. I'm not talking to you, McDaniel. I'm going to talk to Nick now. How about that?
Yeah.
Listen.
See?
So first of all, I want to ask you a question. Oh, virtual.
Stupid asses.
Wait, so look real quick. If you're watching the video, does it look like I have a headpiece on?
Yeah.
It does.
You mean a hairpiece?
No. So Tony Barbarino says I'd pay $1 to see Gene wearing plain Mickey Mouse ears and act normally as usual. Think how fun it would be. What Tony doesn't know about me is I have a set of wigs that I go through. And I do wear the wigs on occasion and pretend like it's actually my real hair. So it is actually a fun exercise that people don't know.
He's got cat ears from his fluffy party the other night.
Oh, I don't even know what a fluffy party is. I don't want to know. But listen, I love this. I love this thing because we've actually been in our team. We've been talking a little bit lately about doing really just what Nick said, right? So the pandemic is a decent excuse to pick up the phone. And what I was telling my folks is like, go through your Rolodex and think about people you have strong relationships with that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, and go through it and set the expectation up front and go like, look, I only got 15 minutes for this call, but I wanted to sneak it in because I was going through X, Y, and Z today, and I thought about you real quick, and I realized I just have been a terrible human, and I haven't talked to you in a while. So I wanted to reach out, make sure everything's cool, right? You don't have to say anything about business. How's your world? If you hone in and have them tell you what's happening in their space with nothing expected in return, it's ultimately going to come back in your favor, and they're going to go, what have you been up to? And at that point, you're in a position to be able to say, maybe this is something I should have a lunch. Maybe we can go to coffee, something along those lines, right? But by you taking yourself out of the equation and just checking in on folks that you have in your database, believe me, they'll feel the same way you do, which is, yeah, you know what, I'm the asshole. I haven't really called him either. So I'm glad you called. You rekindle that old relationship a little bit and see where it can lead. I'm going to tell you the one thing. Like, I love what Jake's doing inside the system. I have a business partner right now that is basically pulling email information from these different places, loading them into BombBomb, doing a BombBomb video to a bunch of agents, and watching who opens and how many times. And he'll sort by the most amount of opens and video watches. So what'll happen is he drops 100 people on a list. He fires off a video with some kind of information, an invite to an event, just a little nugget of information, whatever. Fires it off, and ultimately you'll see 4, 5, 6, 10 people maybe that open it up multiple times and watch the video multiple times. Guess what? It's time for you to call that person, because when you call now, it's not a cold call. Say, hey, listen, I'm just doing a follow-up on that video I just sent you. I wanted to see if you saw it, and if you did, what were your thoughts? And take it down that path. And it's working. We're scheduling lunches with people weeks in advance because they're watching the videos. And then when we call, they're like, hey, I saw that. That was actually pretty awesome. How can I get more information about that? And we go, just meet us. We'll take you to lunch on us, and we'll see where it goes. And then we go in there and find out how we can help their pain points, fix their pain points, and just be human about it, right? I want to get into family, occupation, recreation, and dreams in a little while, but that's two of the things that I would do. Pick up the phone to 20 people in your inner circle you haven't talked to, family. I called my cousin the other day. I haven't talked to my cousin in, it's been a long time since this thing happened. And I knew she was going to pick up because I know she thought, oh my God, Gene's calling me, who died, right? So I just knew that she was going to pick up because she thought something was wrong. Nothing was wrong, Jenny, and we had a nice conversation for the first time in a long time.
Very cool, Gino.
That's awesome.
Love it. Personal.
So
that's
here's
a personal.
Yep.
Ninja retarget, but
Yep.
personal.
Yep.
Right. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So what
So let
about
me give
doing
you guys
something like this? Let's say you guys don't have let's say you're afraid of doing calls, but you're really good on social media. Let's say you're a 20-year-old guy or gal that's getting into this, and you're posting your stories all the time. Gene, Nick, and Jake, give me your opinions on this. Anyone can jump in, but I mean, this is something that I'm doing, and it is astounding how effective this is. When I do a story, I'll then go out and I will then do a little comment to everybody who watches one of my stories. And I don't know 90% of the people that are posting, and I'm honored and blessed to the nth degree that people want to kind of see what my life is about. But I'm going to start, and I have started to go out and just say, hey, thanks so much for watching. How's your day? Or, hey, how can I serve you? Or if it's someone that I know, be like, oh my God, like my friend, she reached out to me several months ago. There's a big fire in my complex. And she's like, oh my God, Greg, you need to go over there and, check on your house. There's a huge fire. I'm like, oh my God, how'd you know? She's like, well, because I saw where you were and I knew you were out of your condo for the weekend. I want to make sure that you were okay. So, I mean, the power of communication, and that's really what it comes down to. It's not phone calls, emails, text messages, social media, it's just communication with the folks, bringing up the conversation of family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, being a normal fucking human being who has a conversation with people and go like, dude, Jake, how are you, man? Like, what is new? Like, tell me about the move to Florida. And you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. And you go into it, right?
I think
Well,
Greg
that's
just
what-
answered his own question.
I did.
I mean-
I did.
Some of the best, honestly, Greg, some of the best agents out there are just people who have a lot of friends, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
You have to have that relationship. So, like, if you struggle, if you're Matt Johnson and you're an introvert and you don't like talking to people and you'd rather stay at home all day and, you know, send out some emails, like, you need to be strategic about what you're doing. And so, like, stories could be a great way to reach out and get some feedback, because it's a good way. Stories now is like how your regular news feed was 5 years ago as far as engagement, right? You could do the same exact post, one on your news feed, one on your story. Your news feed post will reach 25 people. The story will reach 250 people, right? So you're
Mhm.
getting a lot more exposure on stories than ever before. So it's a good feedback mechanism, like what Greg's doing, like the Gary V, give your 2 cents and actually reply to people and be a human is a really good strategy if you have the time, right?
But it's also going back in and just being not a self promoter, but a promoter of others. So you want to ask about them. How can I serve you? What does your best customer look like? How can I bring that to your life? You know, who do you know that I can maybe help and promote? You know, it's having those types of conversations, not like, hey, look at me, I'm #1 agent in the marketplace. Though that's fallen on deaf ears lately. And guys, give me your thoughts on this. Jake is twitching like nobody's business, like flipping his pencil over like it's on crack.
Yeah. So for me, guys, right, you're going back to your question, Greg, regarding how this works even in social media. 8% of your database is possibly thinking about doing something. So we are crushing it over here with reasons why we're reaching out. So, hey, this is my new phone number. Wanted you to have it. How are you? Getting the conversation going. I mean, that is a super justifiable reason for connecting to your existing database, to have an alternate business number that they can go ahead and connect with you on. Awesome, right? So it's starting the conversation. What we have found over the last 30 days, and our agents are just putting this to work and crushing it, literally is these people that are inside the database, they're somehow thinking about selling, but they're kind of not. You know, they like their home, but it's like, where do I go? How do I get there? What are the next steps? So you could come in as that person to go ahead and coordinate with them and show them what other opportunities are out there and help complete the rest of the piece of the mind puzzle that these people are in. So it's going to be important there. From going back to your question, Greg, this is your contact list. So your contacts inside of Facebook, go direct message these people, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. How are you? Haven't talked to you in a while. Just checking in. You know what I mean? Hit some powerful questions. Use Facebook Messenger. Go. Start today. You know, use systems that accelerate your time so that you can get into conversations. Bring them off of text and direct message into, I'd love to connect with you on the phone to go ahead and catch up a little bit more instead of just typing. So as fast as you can get off of technology and then get belly to belly with these people and go through and help them finish that mind puzzle and find out where they're at. So that's important. But don't underestimate this right now. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening, listen to Sarge here. 8% of your database is thinking about doing something because of those things we talked about.
That's a huge number. That's a huge number. And here's the funny thing, Jake, as you were talking, I mean, I'm actively considering probably selling my own house in the next probably 120 days, which kind of sucks, but what the fuck ever. It's the way life goes. And there's a fuck ton of things that are going through my brain. Like I'm up at 3 a.m. thinking like, oh my God, I have to do this. Can you only imagine? I've done this for 21 years. Imagine the person who hasn't done it in 21 years.
Yeah, you're a licensed real estate agent. You're thinking about these things.
You know? Dude, so freaking out. I got so much shit to do to get my house ready to go to sale. Imagine our clients' mindsets. And if you go in and you start doing the whole forward family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, and you go back to those conversations of like, how are you? What's new? How can I help you? You know, blah, blah, blah. What do you need? So on and so forth. If I had been contacted by a real estate agent and they had gone anywhere near that conversation with me, and for everyone who's watching this thing again, it's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Having that conversation, Greg, what is your dream? What's your goal? Like, where do you want to be? How do you want to get there? You know, what does that mean to you? What does that look like for you? And you have those conversations, motherfuckers, I would be all up on you like a kid on a cupcake because you're bringing value to my life. A lot of us don't think we're bringing value to these people's lives because we think that we're being predators and trying to hunt them down for their business. But in reality, you're a service provider. Jake, when you're in the military, you were a service provider. You were helping people who needed help. Nick and Gene, when you guys have been your past lives and whatever you used to do, you guys provided value. You have to understand that that's what you're doing here. So ask the questions based on those 4 letters that will allow you to open up the conversations so that once you get into conversation, then that leads to relationships. Relationships lead to trust. Trust leads to business. It's really simple. Gene just checked out. He's like, well, shit, man, I better close up shop then. I'm out.
Hey, Greg,
No,
let me tell you something really quick. It's a real fast thing, right? I've gotten feedback from some of my agents that said, Mr. Wolf, thank you so much for teaching me about this strategy and actually putting it to work. Because when I called my best friend, he said he was contemplating working with Redfin. They connected with him. Yeah. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, please go call the people that you already have inside of your sphere because your competitors are doing it. Go. Stay top of mind.
Dude, my best friend's parents did the exact same thing. I was using my brother Brad McDaniel. His company's called Real Agile, and they do predictive analytics. And the funny thing is that my best friend's parents were on that list. I called them up and I said, yo, homies, are you guys thinking about selling? They're like, yeah, we're thinking about selling. And I'm like, gosh, dang it. I totally missed that one because I wasn't present. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't keep the relationship up over time with different variables. So here's a question. How do you get over different, in my vernacular, different variables in relationships? So let's say you have a falling out with somebody 10 years ago. Do you reach back out to them or do you let them go by the wayside? And if you do want to reach out to them, how do you start that conversation and get into the Ford conversation? Nick, take this one.
Loaded. That's loaded. Well, first let me answer Paul. He's asking about 24-hour stories. Yes, stories. Inside Instagram, inside Facebook. It's a very powerful thing. It's very time intensive. You have to be conditioned. I think it's something, because it only lasts 24 hours, it's something you have to put into a routine. So an hour a day, doing stories, creating story content. It is part of, should be part of your social routine. Dude, Greg, as far as like reaching out to people, if you had a bad experience with someone or you had a bad falling out and you feel like you want to mend that relationship, sure, go ahead and reach out. But for me, okay, first of all, personally, I don't burn any bridges, so I've never had that experience personally. If I was to get into that situation, I would probably be the type of person where I would go and stalk, just practice what I preach, stalk their social media, find out a little bit more about them. And then once I figure out a method of, okay, hey, I want to break the ice with this person, I would just rip the Band-Aid right off. Hey, man, I know 10 years ago we had a falling out, but I've changed, we've changed, situation changed. I just want to check up on you because I was in this area or whatever. I saw your Facebook post or whatever, and bring up what they're currently doing to build that relationship back. So for me, have the conversation up front, bring up the elephant in the room. If it goes south from there, then it goes south. You're not going to have a relationship with that person. But for me, that's what I would do as far as coming cold. I haven't talked to somebody in 10 years. It'd be easier for me to just say it out front, however it went down, and then build a relationship based on a little bit of research I've done from their social media.
Spoken like a pro.
Yeah. You must have messed up a lot of relationships, Nick. Seems like you know how to handle this.
No,
awkward silence. That was supposed to be a joke.
Watches Jerry Springer at night.
Oh, I do love Jerry Springer. That is some good shit right there. Gene, what are some of your thoughts on this? If you were to reach out to some folks, maybe you may or may not have had an awkward conversation with or more 5, 10, 15 years ago, and you see them in your feed quite a bit. How would you be passive aggressive? Would you be aggressive? How would you reach out to these folks to either mend or rebuild the relationship?
Neither. Listen, if we had a falling out 10 years ago, there's a 99.9% chance it was your fault. And if you haven't apologized to me yet, I'm out. I'm not doing anything with you. That's
Of
it.
course.
I'm not going to rekindle nothing. All right.
Okay, good. Guys, everyone's listening to this. Please disregard anything Gene ever says from this point forward. Holy crap balls!
Well, no, Greg, listen. I people that don't know me, I'm pretty sure by now hopefully they know that I'm a jerk off, and I'm kidding. But I think that first of all, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Who cares about the people from 10 years ago? Start with the people that you haven't contacted in a year. There's going to be enough in your database, right? That you have. There's going to be warm leads in your circle right out the gate. I mean, if you run out of people that you haven't talked to in 2 years, then start digging your way back to 5, 6, 8 years ago. You know, like, oh my God, I went to college with that guy. I haven't seen him since our frat days, 26 years ago. Who cares? He's probably not going to do business with you. He probably has a friend or a relative that's a real estate agent. So what's the difference? I would focus on the warm stuff up front, people that are engaging with your posts, people that are, responding to your emails. Once the blue moon, I'll get a direct message on my Instagram from somebody that I haven't talked to in a year or so. And that's that should be a marker to give them a buzz or to reach out virtually. So, I mean, I just think I don't want to overcomplicate it, because I think if we're trying to get people to dig back in, 10, 15 years to mend a relationship, that's going to be uncomfortable, and they're not going to do it. So I would rather just say to you, start looking through your Rolodex. I mean, go to your contacts on your phone. Just go. I call it contact roulette. Just go whoop and watch where it stops, and look at the 3 people on it. And go, oh, I'm talking to that dude a couple minutes. Let me call him. I mean, who cares at this point? Just get in their space, because the message is going to be simple. Was just thinking about you. Haven't heard from you in a while. Thought I'd reconnect. Like right now, I promised myself that I would make more human connections now because of what happened with this pandemic. It made me feel alone. I didn't like the way it was. We're out of touch with humanity. I wanted to reach back out and do my part to make sure you're okay. That's it.
So, what was that site? Contact Roulette? Or is that actually an app?
No, it's just me.
Going with your phone.
They're just me. Yep.
Okay, I'm taking notes. I'm like,
Gene did exactly what we were saying. Like, as far as he used a current event, COVID, as an excuse to reach out, right? So the current event, COVID, the current event, something that happened on their timeline that you can do a little bit of 5 minutes of research, right? Of figuring out how to connect with them. Because I just got a message from a guy that I worked with. This is personally, right? So talk about bad, poopy prospecting or bad prospecting. I worked for Ford for 3 months. Worst job ever. One of the biggest Ford dealerships in the country, happens to be 30 minutes from my house where I currently live. And I was a terrible car salesperson, if you can believe that. Maybe just lazy. I don't know. I just didn't feel like the idea of making $100 on a car when I was selling real estate before that, making thousands. Anyway, it's a brain fart on my mind. Anyway, so a guy that I worked with for that 3-month stint, we stayed friends on Facebook. I get a message from him. I haven't talked to him since then. This was 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And I get a message on Instagram as a direct message. Hey, buddy. What did he say? He goes, hey, man, I got something. I'm working on something new. I would love to chat with you. First thing I do is I stalk his profile. I see he's an insurance salesman, life insurance. Now, that message that he sent to me is an immediate, I want to sell you life insurance. It's not, how are you doing? We haven't talked since Brandon Ford. It's been a while. Like, so that to me, when you send out a message like that, that's just super cold, not personal, you haven't talked to that person in a long time, they're going to stalk your profile. And if you just send out a generic message like, hey man, it's been a while, that could go to anybody. That could go to Gene, it could go to Jake, it could go to, like, there's no common denominator. There's no pull of where you guys met before. That person's going to go to their profile and they're going to see realtor. And they're going to go, oh, this guy just wants to sell me a house, and probably not even respond. So there is a difference. I would highly, highly encourage you, if you're going to do this prospecting to people 5, 10, even a year out that you haven't talked to in a while, personalize that message a little bit. Just a little tip, right? It doesn't have to be crazy, but
just a little tip.
A little bit of extra work, just a tip.
A small
now, if you're like Jake and you're loading them into a contact database and it's thousands of numbers, like, play the numbers, use the merge fields, all that stuff is great. But if you have like a top 100, if you got some people that, like, man, I used to be really close with this guy 10 years ago and I haven't talked to him in a while, don't merge field that guy. Send him an actual message and be personal
So,
about it. Because
let me ask you a question, Nick, really quickly, and I want to get your opinion on this and everybody else. So my father, when he started, we call him the Grand Master, T Diddy, the Terry. Back before there was any kind of smartphones or anything else like that, what he would do is he would drive around with, which I do, and all the rest of us do with our yellow pads, right, with all of our notes and thoughts and everything on them. That was basically his database. And the trick that he did, and Nick, again, give me your thoughts on based on what you just said. He would be driving down the road, or he'd actually be sitting in the office. It doesn't matter. He kind of told a little bit of a white lie here sometimes, but he would say, "Hey, Nick, it's Terry. You know, I was just driving by your house and I thought about you, and I just wanted to give you a call and just want to see how you're doing. You know, let's reconnect when you have time." And that script worked like magic gold, because they don't know that you were or were not driving past their house. You could be, you could not be. It's going to be your discretion on how you want to play that. But that script worked for him. And I remember distinctly one day I was driving with him. We're going past a street where my elementary school called Rancho Romero was located. And he was on the main road, and the turnout street was to the left. And he just picked up his phone, called someone and said the exact same script. And they called him back. They're like, "Oh my God, we're thinking about you too. How's life?" It's just we're out and about, we're doing things. Why not say, "Hey, my name is Jake. My name is Gene. My name is Nick. My name is Greg. My name is Sue. My name is Frank. Hey, I miss you, man. I was driving past your house. Haven't talked to you in a while. How's life? Give me a holler back. Let's get together and get a beer or a cup of coffee." That's where you can bring in Ford and really start going deep. Gentlemen, thoughts?
I love it. So from a marketing concept, right? If we're talking about the numbers of your database and how it's possibly equaling 8% of people being in market, even at a 5% conversion of that 8%, we're still talking 4 or 5 homes, ladies and gentlemen, out of 1,000 contacts. So it's important to go ahead and get out there and stay connected. Also, don't let your database go as cold as you have been, right? So you should be hitting this stuff every 3-4 months, saying hello, saying what's up, utilizing a strategy and putting it into action, period. Now knowing that if 8% is pretty damn close for your database set, wouldn't it be a good idea to go ahead and grow your database? So just like Nick went ahead and said, man, some of the best real estate agents that he's ever met have a lot of friends, have a lot of connections, have a lot of associations. So putting yourself out there, being a good person, getting into different associations, saying hello to everybody that you meet, things like that, very important. So can you imagine if all of a sudden your database grows to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000? So ladies and gentlemen, this is a very strong key right now to success on the work that you've already put in. So it's about bringing this back to life and doing it the right way from a marketing concept. So know what you have, go ahead and actually take actionable steps, utilize systems, utilize a process, put it on your calendar, make sure you do the work because you've already gained the relationship in some form or fashion. Go do it and find out ways to go ahead and build more people into your strategy, more people into your database so you can become more successful in doing these things. Very important. So additionally, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that we like to do, all right, is to reconfirm the email address people are using, all right, on our database set. So get out, how are you? This is my information. Hey, are you still at this email address? You know, asking some different questions to go ahead and make sure, and then actually getting those people in. How often are you sending out email, relevant consumable content? All of this stuff is so connected, but the power of your database is so damn important. Be real, be the most relevant you could possibly be. Utilize these things that we know work. You know, that whole Ford thing, right? You're talking about family, you're talking about dreams, you're finding out how people are. You know, all of that stuff is how you should be speaking to people regardless, right? If you care, say hi, do it. Just be a genuine person. Take actionable steps necessary to support your business and fill up your pipeline. Just be the most badass you could possibly be. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit the like button on this show. Show us some love because you know what? We're trading our non-infinite life to go ahead and drop some major knowledge bombs to hook you up.
I couldn't agree with that more, guys. Share it with everybody you
Sergeant smashing the like button over here. I love it.
I'm sandbagging on you, Nick.
Sorry, Greg. My bad.
No, dude. Hey, dude, rock and roll. I love everything about these conversations. Gene, you're looking very, perplexed at the moment. I want to kind of see what you're staring at. Hopefully, it's not going to be inappropriate material for the show because this is a family show. But I mean, what are some of your thoughts on kind of what Jake just dropped on us?
I didn't listen to anything Jake just said.
Yeah, you did. You recorded that shit, Gino.
I just love making Nick laugh.
I can always count on you, Gene. I can always count on you to go left when everybody's going right.
And I also don't. It's a family show. Since when?
Yeah, right.
Fuck you. I don't know. It's weird.
Right. Oh my god.
Greg, isn't it interesting? Like as a species, and I'm guilty of this. We're all guilty of this. Why we would rather cold call strangers than people that we know?
Because
why is it easier?
Because the barrier there is there's no preconception of how the interaction is going to go. It's complete wild west, and that's why I like to do my outbound calls cold, is because I don't know this person, they don't know me. It's kind of like an Easter egg, kind of the exact same time. I get to kind of see how I'm gonna what I can get out of it, not what I think I'm going to get out of it. Yeah. And that's my perception on this thing. And so that's why when people are like, why don't you call in your database more? I'm like, because I don't want to. I mean, it sounds horrible when I say this, but mentally, I don't want to talk to them because I'm afraid they're going to reject me. But if I get rejected by somebody I don't know, then it doesn't hurt. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, whatever, fuck off. Moving forward.
What you're saying is you attach expectations to your database, but you don't attach expectations to cold strangers. That's all it is.
Yes.
And the grass is always greener on the other side.
You feel like
it is, until
cold strangers might lead to a listing faster because you have some data, right? Maybe you got this data list from Brad and it says these are the most likely people to sell. So you're like, this is the bottom of the funnel. And if I'm going to put in the effort of calling 25 people today, it's got to be the maximum quantity for me to get a listing tomorrow. Instead of, I'm just going to have
but that's not the right
with people and see where it leads me.
Right, but that's not the right mindset to have. I mean, when you go in,
would you agree that that's kind of, would you feel like that? Is that how you feel? Like,
100%. A lot of people put way too much pressure, and there's a lot of folks that I listen to early in the morning, my time. All you guys are East Coasters. So my time, 5:30, your time, 8:30. I listen to an organization that do role plays. And it is so scripted, it hurts at times. And they're great human beings that are doing this. And I think the people that need to learn how to do this are learning through repetition. But I think that once you get into repetition, you understand what you're going to be saying. Yeah, dude, it's like calling your database and getting that rejection on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis from not staying in touch with them hurts more than telling someone like Gene would tell me to go fuck myself. If I call them like, oh, is this Gene Velope? He'd be like, yeah, fuck off, click. And I'll be like, okay, move on to the next person, right?
Well,
but if I call Jake Wolf,
let's talk about this for a second, right? So thought just popped into my mind, right? So existing database set. So there are people that are listening to the show right now who don't have a large database, right? Or maybe they're just starting and trying to figure out how in the hell to even get into the weeds on this thing.
But they do though.
Understood. But my point here is, with the way that the housing market is right now, I know a lot of agents that are using circle prospecting perfectly. Really good, seasoned agents. So if all of a sudden a home goes up for sale, it's got 5, 6, 7 competing offers on it. These agents that I know are literally calling other people in the neighborhood and they're saying, hey, you know what? The house over here that is 2 down from you at 123 Pine Street just went ahead and sold. They had 4 or 5 offers. We've seen a high buyer demand in your area. Have you had any thoughts about? They're using that as justification to go ahead and do some of the circle prospecting on the cold too and gain relationships from it. These are seasoned agents. This is what's happening right now. The old school bloody knuckle street fight in the marketplace. So existing data set and also circle prospecting around recent solds, powerful. You just have to take action, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it's around the recent solds, but the most powerful thing you can ever do when it comes to doing the Ford method and really utilizing your database is calling around the recent pendings. Now, a lot of people can fight with me on this one, and I would love to debate it. Check with your broker, check with your association in regards to the legalities on everything that I'm going to talk about next. For me, it's fine here in California, but what I do is I go out and I find the most recent pending property. So if today we're recording on Wednesday, right? So Tuesday of this week, I go back and I see what pending, highest price, shortest amount of days on market. I call the listing agent and I say, hey, congratulations on the pending. How many offers did you get? We got 3. Okay, well, have a blessed day. Thank you so much. Then you take that content and you put it back out into your database. And when you're doing your calls around around that market area, because people don't know about pending information, and you're not disclosing anything that's not publicly known. You're saying, hey, they got 3 offers on one property. It got accepted. It went pending in 3 days, and it was listed at $1.5 million. Are you guys interested in maybe taking advantage of these other 2 buyers that are out there that are thinking about doing something? And then you go into the Ford script and go from there. That's something that's been very effective for me. Gene's raising his hand. I don't know if he's at me or at someone else in the room. I think he's ignoring us. Oh, there's a naked child in the room. Okay.
Say what's up, Liam. Hello. Hello. Wave to the people.
Hello, Liam.
What's up,
buddy?
Liam? He can't hear us.
No, he can't.
It is a family show.
Yeah,
It is.
my
They
kid was
just-
on last
I
week.
told you they were on a boat. They just all came back from the boat.
Well, good for them. Guys, gentlemen, we're at 46 minutes on this podcast. Let's get some final thoughts here. Gene, since we're with you, we're talking with Liam here, who is our shirtless wonder who decided to wander into the screenshot. Tell us a little bit of kind of what your final takeaways on this, and then we'll go to Nick and then go to Jake.
And he's hilarious too. You got to see, if you're around him 10 minutes, you'd be laughing. So my final couple thoughts: just set a very attainable goal for yourself this week of hitting 5-year contacts. Do what I told you. Go through your Russian roulette, contacts roulette, and just go through and just look on. I mean, when I do that on my phone, I probably have 20 contacts in the window. Just pick 1 or 2 and give them a call. Just maybe just talk about old times, just rekindle, and invite them to lunch. One lunch per week for the next, say, 4 or 5 weeks. And expect nothing out of it. And they're going to want to know what you do. And because you didn't expect anything out of it, they're probably going to send somebody your way. I bet you that's going to happen. So just start
Good stuff,
easy.
man.
Start easy.
Yeah, fart easy. Well, start easy or fart easy. I mean, either way, just enjoy your prunes or your business. Nick, give us some of your final thoughts.
If you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, Ford method's a great method, in conjunction with stalking their social media, finding them on social media, seeing what their current events are, what's going on in their life, just directing the conversation to them and not to you, right? The last thing you want to do is call somebody you haven't talked to in 10 years and say, hey, man, did you know I'm selling real estate now? I just wanted to let you know. I wanted to let you know that I'm selling real estate, okay? That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Peace. Bad phone call. Don't do that, right? Use the Ford method. Genuinely find out how they're doing and see in that navigation and bobbing and weaving if you can help them out. If you can't help them out specifically and you've had a tremendous conversation, there might not be anything wrong with at the end of the conversation you saying, hey, man, if you know anybody that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, and then you do your spiel, right? But after, way after, last thing, fleeting thought, possible at the end jab, maybe. But have the great conversation first, because you never know. It's always those things that happen, and it's like when you're prepared and at a restaurant overhearing somebody talking about real estate and you happen to be there, right? You want to be that guy to get more at bats. We talk about this in video and having more videos on social media. That's having more at bats. When you have more conversations, you have more at bats, and you have the ability to have more people come to you, and the universe is abundant. Funny things will happen.
Excellent takeaways. Jake, what's your takeaway, my friend?
I just crush it every single day. That's what I do in life, right? So I set people up for success. We go crush it. I mean, we're doing this stuff and we're looking at the numbers. Seriously, 8%. And I can't express this enough, ladies and gentlemen. Your competitors are going to contact them if you don't. Even the big boys from New York. It's very important to take actionable steps necessary to support you and your business. Don't be the 80% of people in a year and a half to 2 years that drop out. When you could go ahead and make some fine-tuned tweaks right now, take action, use systems, use the knowledge, surround yourself with good people, come back to this show every single Wednesday to go ahead and get knowledge bombs, join inner circles, get coaching, take action, be proactive. You're running a business, act like it.
Damn, that's a mic drop right there. Oh, gentlemen, what are my final thoughts? Guys, I appreciate you asking. Thank you so much. Something kind of comes to mind really quickly. If you guys haven't heard of him, there's a guy named Simon Sinek. He's a keynote speaker, author, board member. There's a whole crap stuff this guy does. But he there's a story that he told one time, and he was walking down the street in Manhattan, and he met a woman who was sitting on the side of the street, and she was panhandling. And her sign said something very, very normal, like, "Please help, I need food," or "God bless you, please help," or "I'm not going to lie, I need a beer," or something funny, right? And so he had an idea, and he went over and he said, "Ma'am, could I help you with your messaging on your board?" And she's like, "Well, sure. What's it going to cost me?" He's like, "No, absolutely nothing." He asked her, "What do you make on a daily basis to survive?" And she said, "I make $100 a day." And he's like, you can live on $100 a day. Is that something that you're telling me?" And she said, "Yes, I can do that." He's like, "Good. Can I have your board?" He flipped it over. And on the back side of the board, instead of writing like, "I need a beer," or "I need money," "God bless," "veteran," whatever it is that people usually write, he wrote a very simple statement. And I'll tell you how this is important in real estate. He wrote, "I know you don't give every day, but next time you do, please remember me." And he put that up on the street. Within an hour, she made $100. She packed up and went home. And so why is that relevant to real estate? And the reason why it's relevant for real estate is that you can turn that verbiage into, "I know you don't buy and sell every day, but next time you do, please remember me." Imagine the power of that statement that invokes the opportunity to have a conversation using the family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, script that we've been talking about here, utilizing Clever Leads, utilizing Nick, utilizing Gene in their all respective companies and working together, but allowing that conversation to start. So that would be my takeaway. Any other final thoughts, gentlemen, before we go to the bows on the color of the show?
I've got one.
I love that.
That was fantastic, Greg, by the way. Seriously.
Thank you,
From the
guys.
bottom of my heart. And even Gene's heart, too. I could tell. I could see it beating out of his chest. So,
His bald head, you can see it beating out of his bald head.
yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've lost some of our soldiers here recently defending our great country. I, as a combat veteran that served in Afghanistan, want to give a special shout out to all of the families and all of the people and all the veterans that are hurting right now. We're praying for you guys continuously. So thank you for your sacrifice for our country. Goes a long way, and we absolutely love you. So God be with all of the families that lost their loved ones. That's where I want to end it.
Jake, this show, Real Estate Uncensored, it stands behind our veterans. And so we will stand with them and for them and behind them. And so, yeah, we appreciate you. We appreciate them. And there's zero fucks given on that one. If you guys don't like me, fuck off and die. But, that's how we're going to stand. Gene's like, all right, he's pretty literal on that one.
You very much are.
All right, Jake, since you came in hot on the on the Patriot side, give me a color that you want to put on your side of the bow.
I'm going to start with red, and hopefully you guys finish the pattern.
All right, Gene.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
I got you. I'm going to do a white one.
There you go. Nick.
I mean, I was going to say blue anyway for Ford blue, but I'll go blue, just American flag. Thank you very much.
All right, let's do that, ladies and gentlemen. Guys and gals, thank you so much for watching and listening to us. I mean, we love you beyond belief. We can't do this show without you. I mean, our hearts go out to every single service member and their families. We salute you. We support you. We walk behind you. We do everything that we can ever do to be there to service you in any way, shape, or form. Hopefully, this podcast does this in a little bit of way, shape, or form, so you can go out there and make your way in the world of real estate, and we can be value add assets to you. This is going to be a red, white, and blue bow on this show. That is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, thank you. Go out there and give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review on every single place you guys listen to podcasts. It helps us get the algorithms out to all the people that need to hear this, and the shows that they can probably go back and laugh at us. Nick and Gene are giving handies to each other virtually.
He didn't even know what was going on. He was actually putting his water down.
So weird. So weird. Anyways, guys, we love you to pieces. God bless you. Until next time, guys. Peace out, ninjas. We gone.
I love it.